Are we on?
We're on.
I think we are. Is it Wednesday or Thursday?
It's Wednesday. It feels like next Tuesday.
This week has been dragging. I don't understand why, but it is. You know, it felt to me today like it was Thursday, but now it's only Wednesday. So tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and
yeah. Well, let's say hi to everybody.
Why don't we?
You started off tonight.
Okay. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Meteorologist Joe Rayo here, and I am in charge of the weather at the Lower Hudson Valley. Yeah, fine. Fios 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley. I had to say that in the official sense, right?
Yes.
Right. And you are...
I'm Joe Chaffee, Fios 1 News, Long Island, and Fios 1 News, New Jersey.
Yes.
So, I think after yesterday's thunderstorms, we're all just kind of...
ragged
out, relaxing here, and what a beautiful day it was today. Lots of sunshine, low humidity. Temperatures in the 80s. This is, to me, this is how it should be every day in the summertime. It would be great, but it's not.
We've had an amazing run of these kind of days. There've been, there's some summers where you can't get even one of these kind of days, and then there are some summers like this year where we've had more than a few. And tomorrow, on top of this nice day that we had today, tomorrow may be even nicer.
Yeah.
In the sense that we have a bit lower humidity.
I can remember, what was it, a couple of summers ago where we ran that streak of, 100 and something days with temperatures that didn't get below, the daytime highs were all 80 and above. Right. And if I remember correctly, when we would get these shots of dry air, the dew point would get to maybe about 61 or 2, and we would be thrilled.
We'd be rejoicing.
Right, and here now we're getting dew points down in the 40s. There probably will be some 30s tonight in parts of upstate New York and up into northern New England.
It is really, really something. But I would hope that all of you out there enjoy this spell of nice weather, because after we get past Friday, things are slowly at first going downhill and then rapidly going downhill by Saturday night and into Sunday, and probably for a good hunk of next week.
Yeah, it isn't often that we see this, and I'm going to run it through here, and we see an upper air like this. And
in July?
In July. This deep, negatively tilted trough that is going to be developing whoops, oh, it's gone. Wait a second, where did it go?
I don't know. It disappeared.
Hold on, let me bring it up again.
There you go.
The screen part of it is gone. Let me see if I bring it up full screen. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it isn't often. Let me run it through again so we can have the drama of it dropping down from the western Great Lakes into the Ohio Valley. And a few people were talking on Twitter about this. Certainly, if you saw an upper air similar to this in January or February, probably the snowfield folks would be jumping up and down.
Oh, the snow geese would be honking endlessly.
But yeah, right. But one of the big implication to me in this setup is that this southerly flow that sets up along the East Coast is something we haven't seen. I mean, we've seen it from time to time, but this one is going to persist for a good chunk of next week. So we're going to probably have a fairly strong flow of downpours coming up the coast.
Right.
And, they'll get in from time to time in some areas, not necessarily in others. And, if you're in the line of fire, you could wind up getting a lot of rain. And if not, just wait, because at some point you probably will be.
This could be one of those scenarios where we see training. In other words, there'll be a long line of moderate to heavy shower activity, and unfortunately, if you happen to be in the path, it's like a train passing by you, one after another, one wave after another of moisture, and you could get 2-3 inches of rain. And on the other hand, you could be in one of those corridors or call areas where not much is happening at all. You get a lot of ominous-looking clouds and humidity, but it's going to be that way, not just for probably Sunday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even beyond as well.
Well, the other thing is about this, Joe, is the fact that, this time of year, it's very tricky when you start talking about temperatures being quote-unquote below average. A pattern like this would put you in below average temperatures, but you got to, everybody has to remember that the average high this time of year, we're at the, the peak of the summer temperatures now. Right. I'll run at about 86, 87 on a day-to-day basis. So if you're 5 degrees below average, you're still getting into the low 80s. I mean, it's still warm. We're not talking about 15 degrees below and not getting out of the 60s. Although Saturday, I think, if clouds roll in fast enough, and I don't see why they wouldn't, and the onshore flow, we may have a tough time, and a lot of places may just get into the 70s and stay there all day long.
And that may be a pretty significant flow. We may see winds gusting to 15, 20 miles an hour on Saturday afternoon and evening.
Right. Now, the other question is, before everybody else goes off the deep end, there's going to be a low that's going to develop here, probably off the southeast coast of some kind. And models have some form of it. On some runs more or less, but it does run up the coast. As far as speculation, if a few people are saying, this might become tropical, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't know that even. First of all, I don't know if there's enough time.
No.
You're talking. This is Friday afternoon, and by Saturday afternoon, there's some kind of low that you could probably find off the Delaware coast. And that's firing up like a rocket ship. This is behaving like a non-tropical system usually behaves. I just don't think there'll be enough time for that. But if there's a surface low in there off the Delaware coast, there might be a tight little gradient that develops, and you could have some gusty winds along coastal areas of New Jersey and Long Island. And the other thing I would say, Joe, is that because you have this strong southeast flow and a lot of moisture input, you could wind up with some heavy rains in some places.
Well, how long did it take Chris to evolve from that upper level system over the Atlantic Ocean?
Almost a week and a half.
And this is admittedly a different type of scenario. We already have some sort of a closed circulation, and the waters are certainly warm. But certainly, I agree with you. This probably would not be enough. And you know what?
It won't matter.
I hope it doesn't acquire a name, because if it acquires a name, then all of a sudden everything gets thrown into kilter. Here, we're of course are a news gathering outlet, and there are others too. And as soon as the powers that be hear that it has a name and it's a tropical system,
even though the weather outcome would be identical,
right,
in terms of what you would get it, regardless of whether it has a name or not, the kind of weather that we would experience from this would be the same. So it would be rain and some wind. I don't see at this point it being anything more than that. Yeah, suddenly the expectations grow 100-fold,
right,
in terms of what may happen.
You watch your typical newscast, for example, and if this is going to be just a regular, plain old low-pressure system that's going to bring rain and wind, it will be relegated to maybe the third or fourth story. They'll do the first top 2 stories, or whatever is happening out there, and then like the third or fourth story, they'll go to their local weather forecaster and say, it looks like it's going to be an unsettled weekend coming up. So-and-so has to say. But if this were to suddenly acquire a name, if this were to become Debbie, which is the next name on the list, the first thing out of the box when your news comes on is a
tropical
storm. Debbie is heading our way.
Right.
Let's go to
so-and-so.
And away we go.
Well, once that first shot of rain goes by Saturday night and Sunday morning, then we start to deal with the upper low and the tropical moisture and the instability. So, the models seem to all of them do this. I think European actually is even more robust with the idea. But if we go through Monday and Tuesday of next week with this constant southerly flow, it's going to be extremely humid, and we're going to be dealing with downpours from place to place and from time to time, virtually all week long. And actually, toward the end of that week, it gets even more robust. Looks like some sort of frontal boundary gets stalled out nearby as the upper trough tries to swing to the east. But this is going to last for a while.
The Climate Prediction Center, our friends who specialize in long-range forecast, actually put a big circle around. Well, actually, New York was right in the middle of the circle. Includes eastern Pennsylvania and southern New England or whatever, and they had arrows pointing in all directions. And they were talking about excessive precipitation for next Thursday and Friday, and that perhaps what you're seeing on the screen now is what they are perhaps alluding to. Is
well, you know what? I could probably get WPC. Let's see if I can. Maybe it might take me a second or two to find this. But they got their weather maps. I went already to the snow. We don't want that. No, we don't want that. Here it is. I think this is it. Days 3 through 7. Why can't they make it easy? You know what it is? I don't always bookmark these things, and no, I don't want to know how gridded forecasts are created. Just bear with me. Maybe this one is it. Bingo. So you know if I hit it enough times. So this is the 7-day precip. So let's everybody can see it on the screen here. But yeah, 7-day precip along the East Coast is fairly substantial. I mean, you're talking about, you know, this large area of 2 to 4 inches over the next 7 days, and you can see the big amounts that are along the Carolinas and down the southeast and over Florida, so central and northern Florida. So this is the focus of attention in terms of moisture. If you're going to have this southerly flow, this is going to be your outcome, and you're probably, as you pointed out earlier, this could be one of those situations where you can get training, right. And you know, some areas could get clobbered with rain, others might get less, but it seems to me like everybody's going to get something. Of course, there's a little bit of a hole there over southeastern New Jersey for some reason.
Now, how do they do that?
How do they do that?
How do they do that like 7 days in advance? Or
they're so good they have it all figured out. But it's going to be, it is going to, look, the next 2 days, enjoy them. If you have off the next 2 days, you picked well. Just a look, Joe, real fast at the tropical Atlantic. There still really isn't too much happening. Actually, if you look right where the Leeward Islands are, you can see the wind shear in the upper the strong winds in the upper atmosphere, because the low clouds are going from east to west, right, and the high clouds are going from west to east. And because you can see the layers so well on this GOES 16, you see them both happening at the same time. Right. So, you know, you do have rather hostile conditions with upper level winds, at least for now. And you still have these pockets of Saharan dust running around as well.
It's not good if you're trying to, you know, grow up into a tropical cyclone. The combination of wind shear and that Saharan dust does not spell a good or bode very well if you are looking for some kind of.
I think we're going to have to wait until at least another week. Maybe at this time next week or next weekend, we might be at that point seeing some kind of tropical wave action coming off the African coast, where perhaps it'll hold together. Just a guess on my part. I'm not, I'm not 100% sold on the idea. You actually, if you look in the lower right corner toward the end of the loop, you can see a flare up of clouds coming in. It looks like a wave is about to move off the African coast, but you got all that Saharan dust, and it also looks like there's northeast wind shear going on up in the eastern Atlantic. That stuff's going to get ripped apart anyway. Isn't it lovely?
So, do we have any questions from anybody?
Well, let's go to the board. Let me bring us back up full screen.
Whose board? Oh,
we'll
not that kind of board. I like how
Let's see. Michael Odell is just he's gotten himself all bent out of shape because between the rain. Okay, so he says it's not going to rain every single day for 2 weeks. Something has to change. Well, no one ever said that it was going to rain every single day for 2 weeks, but it is probably going to rain at some point over the weekend and probably every day next week.
See, now I definitely, when I do my lawn is like growing like it never had. And I don't understand, because all these long-term dry days, you would think that the grass would stay short for a little while, but. And I've had it on number 4, the deck on the tractor. I'm going to have to lower that down to a 3.5 or 3. And I know my wife would frown at that, but hey, look, with all the rain that's coming, that grass is going to be growing like out of control probably by the middle and latter part of next week. So try to keep it short as best I can.
Yeah, Michael Odell is losing it now. He says, I guess summer is officially over, fall is beginning.
Was he the one who said the winter was over back at the end of February?
Yeah, there's a few of them that do that. Let's see. Oh, Mark Salzano was on. Hi, Mark. I also noticed Richard Melikar is on as well. And who else? Mike Savage. Can we see an unnamed storm, but with tropical storm character? I honestly don't know that you know if you had your ears closed and a blindfold on and you had no outside contact other than being able to you take the blindfold off and see the weather that's going on out your window, and you wouldn't know the difference if it were to become tropical or not. I don't think, this is not like we're dealing with something that's already a tropical system that's coming out from across the tropical Atlantic, and we're sort of waiting in anticipation. This is a low that's coming up the coast. It would do the same thing either way. So I'm just not really too, getting a name out of the way is not a big deal for me. Let's see. Model showing a possible warm core. Everybody's on this, Rocco. I know. Look, it could happen, but
it's almost like some of these people
is it
want
worth?
this to happen.
I know. Is it worth the 6 to 8 hours of rain we might get out of it anyway? I mean, I don't know. I'm just not. I'm just not at this point making a huge deal about this.
I think these people just want to see. They want to have a reason to go to the Hurricane Center website and see the static plots.
Yes. Brianna Danielle, what am I thinking for next Saturday? Now, by next Saturday, are you referring to the Saturday that is coming up in 3 days, or are you referring to a week from Saturday? Because if it's for a week from Saturday, she's having 65 people in their backyard. She obviously doesn't want to make it 66 and 67. Okay, so you need to tell us where you are, and the other thing is, which Saturday are we talking about?
And she doesn't want to call up and order a giant tent, probably.
Yes, exactly.
For the backyard.
See, Chris Bailey has the right attitude. Whatever. That's what you love about weather. What happens, happens. That's correct. Let's see. I'm just trying to, I can't wait for days. Lucas Lauderville. I can't wait for days in the 40s, overcast, and multicolored leaves blowing around. Enough of summer already. Well, let's not rush it. I still got a pool to use.
It hasn't been such a bad summer. I don't really. It's been a summer for.
Oh, it's been fun. This has been actually. It's been really. It's been tame.
Right.
Jason Kaplan, how bad would the rain and wind be in terms of intensity this weekend? I think from what I'm looking right now, rain-wise, Saturday night into Sunday morning, I don't know, maybe an inch or so in some places, maybe a little bit more. Unless we suddenly start to get to feel that this little low that forms on this warm front is going to get a good shot of moisture from the southeast, a good good inflow there, and if the gradient's a little tighter because the pressure's a little lower, I'm not too concerned. I'm not too worried about it.
It's almost like in a way, kind of like a pseudo warm front, if you will.
Yeah.
The front coming up, we get that gusty flow from the ocean. We get a steady period of rain on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and then when that flips to the north, then we get into the southerly flow, the very humid airflow, and then we get more of a convective type of shower pattern, showery rains, if you will, which could lead to, again, some training, could lead to some thunder and lightning. It's a different type of precipitation, but it's going to be wet no matter which way you slice it.
Brianna Danielle, who's having now 67 people versus 65 for her party, she's talking a week from Saturday.
Okay.
So you know what? Ask us a week from today, okay? Or touch back on Monday.
Or if you're that desperate, you might think of it from the standpoint of, well, if it looks like it's going to start raining Saturday night, and then there's endless showers for much of next week, then perhaps by the time of your party, a week from Saturday, everything will have been more or less rained out, so to speak, or we'll see the last of all of that moisture, and it will be time for a change.
Michael Odell, what are we overhyping? What are we overhyping something? Did you overhype something?
I don't.
What are we overhyping? I don't even remotely understand what you mean by that.
If anything, we're going against the hype. We're saying we're hoping that whatever that forms nearby to us over the weekend doesn't evolve into a tropical system, doesn't get a name, and doesn't get the hype that the media will stick on it. And it will be just again, regardless of whether it has a name or not, it's just going to be, a lot of rain to deal with. That's all.
Dave Gelfand recommends that we get a new logo with the M&M package with J&J, Johnson & Johnson, and a big snowflake in the background. So I guess he's not liking... Where did our logo go? Oh, I gotta find it.
Joe, if we do a commercial online, we could do like the old M&M commercials at the pool. Remember those commercials?
Mm-hmm.
Where the plane and the peanut used to jump in the swimming pool?
Yeah, but we're not doing that. Okay, let me make that clear.
Your pool was full of tadpoles anyway.
Well, yes, and now it has still has a few invisible frogs that I can't see because they've been bleached by the pool shock.
Right. And
they're swimming around, and all I get to see are the shadows.
Well, what's around my pool?
Which is weird as it is.
You know what's around my pool? Snakes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You like that? What is it? The rat rattler? There's a rattler that's
no, it's a rat. They're called rat snakes.
Right.
And they just emerge out of the grass or out of the nearby forest that I live near, and sometimes you'll open the front door or the back door.
Well, it's better than living out west where you can, in the southwest where you can
scorpions.
We can find a scorpion in your shoes.
Yeah, something like that.
Paul's coming to our defense here. He says we don't overhype.
Well, thank you.
They tell us what it is. I'm not. I'm just not understanding.
It doesn't matter what you do. People look at you and they judge you, and some will say you're doing one thing, and other people say other things or whatever. Like politics.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Brian Mahaffey says they had a brush fire in the median of the highway today in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, because the grass is so dry. Some of the thunderstorms, at least for Long Island, put down. Long Island actually got basically an inch to an inch and a half of rain island-wide yesterday, which was wonderful because, especially for Suffolk County, it's only rained like 3 times in the last 5 or 6 weeks, and it was sorely needed. So we can sympathize with the fact that the bone-dry conditions that you might have where you are. I would think with this pattern that we're going into that you're going to probably get some decent rains over the next 7 days.
Well, what we had yesterday is a classic example of what I think we're going to be seeing in the coming day on a daily basis. We had about a half an inch of rainfall at Westchester Airport in Harrison, although we call it White Plains. Meanwhile, in Yonkers, over 2 inches of rain. So again, depending upon where you are relative to a specific cell of precipitation, you're going to get either a hefty amount or not so hefty amount.
All right, so let's just kind of summarize and wrap it up because we both want to go home. We are beautiful tomorrow, gorgeous night tonight with windows open and the AC off.
Right.
Beautiful tomorrow. Still pretty nice on Friday. I don't think the humidity is going to come up very much on Friday. It's Saturday. We start to get more humid. Clouds coming in from off the ocean, the southeast wind. Some rain and maybe some wind on the coast later Saturday night into early Sunday. A bit of a break, and then maybe some more downpours in some places late in the day, Sunday into Sunday night. It's going to be uneven. This is not like everybody within 250 miles in all directions of our voices is going to get continuous rain through all of this. It is going to be relatively uneven. And that system, that low coming up, may wind up bringing rain to coastal areas, but if it's right near the coast or just offshore, there may not be that much as you go north and west of the coast. So, look.
Kind of like what we face in the wintertime when, coastal areas get clobbered with snow, and meanwhile places up in Orange County or Dutchess County say, where's all the snow that we were talking about?
Right, not a flake, not an ice pellet, nothing.
Exactly.
All right, so let's leave it there. Time to go home. I'll be on at the top of the hour, Fios 1 News, New Jersey and Long Island.
And Fios 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley for yours truly. And in the morning we have...
His Eminence Terrence Cardinal Fitzgerald, who will be on along with Jeffrey Giraffe, as he knows, Jeff Banson, and Brittany Bora and Addison Green.
And then we'll be back at 2 o'clock tomorrow and stay right on into the night.
That's right, we'll be here. So everybody have a great evening.
So while all of you out there are enjoying the beautiful weather tomorrow, remember us stuck in here to
correct. Well, somebody has to
slaving
do it.
over a hot weather computer.
Exactly. All right. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Do you want to end the live video?